There we go, guys. Sorry about that. Little bit of a rookie move there. There's like 10 things I got to do to get this thing set up to where it's just right, And I left out one of the steps. So, my apologies, guys. How y'all doing, yo? Metal fan, I got you fixed now. Should, anyway. And Jeff, I knew you'd be here for me if I needed that help. Thank you, guys. Yeah. You'll be able to hear. Yeah, you guys can hear me now, though, right? All right, now we're good. Jeff says I'm good. That means I'm good. Yeah, I know exactly what I did wrong on this one. Seriously, there's like a few things that I got to hook up before I get going, and you leave. It's like the old adage in football. You got 10 guys doing the right thing, and one guy does the wrong thing, and you're toast. That's what happened. Oh yeah. All right. So, how's your signing day, guys? Seems like the Auburn Tigers did a fine job. Arguably the best class that Gus has had at Auburn. But curiously, possibly lacking at offensive line, which is got some people up in arms on the bunker for, yeah, I could say reasonable people could look at that and say, hey, man, I don't like what we got at offensive line. It's fine. But a lot of other places, they did really, really well. I've got a list of signees there in lieu of our photo gallery today. And it was kind of tough getting all of them on there. But, yeah, we're going to have Jeffrey Lee on here in just a little bit, and he's going to talk about the class. He's got his Jeffrey Lee's Hidden Gems and Jeffrey Lee's Big Dogs. He's going to talk about those guys. We'll also have B-Matt on a little bit later to talk about what he saw today. We're going to be talking with Chad Morris tomorrow, which I'm pretty fired up about in the morning. And then we're going to talk to some more varsity players in the afternoon. I think it's the last time we're going to talk to the players before Tampa. So that's kind of what we have on the horizon. We got our first super chat of the night from BP Rockman. Thank you, bro. Thank you so much for that. You were always so supportive of what we do here, and I just want you to know I love you, and I think you're the greatest. BP Rockman also, people have forgotten this, but back a couple, 3 years ago when I used to do the serious live blogs for all the softball games when they were really, really good, there were a couple days when I couldn't hop in there, and BP just did it because he's awesome. That's why. Let's see what we got in the house. Oh, that's right. Brian S., last name redacted, wanted to know what we were going to have in the cup today. I don't know, so I have a cup. No. I don't want to go straight out of the bottle. Let me text my administrative assistant. Tell her I need one. Sorry about that, guys. I will go ahead and tell you that, let's see, C. Thompson, I haven't listed as a linebacker yet. You're right. My bad, guys. I know he's a defensive back. I don't know why I did that. But I can't fix it now. We're going to be drinking, or I'm going to be drinking, a little bit of Buffalo Trace tonight. A fresh bottle. Hasn't even been open. Got this at one of my local ABC stores today. I was just kind of coming through on my way home from Auburn. And the East Chase location was just getting some cool stuff in, but not what I was looking for. I was hoping to get some Angel's Envy today. I was just we were talking about it last night, my wife and I, and I was hoping to find some, but no dice. And then I went to the one over by the Rave here in Montgomery, and they still had a few Buffalo Trace left from a shipment that came in earlier in the day. So I was smoked about that. Super chat from Jeff Cheney, my sound guy. And you're a much more worldly man than just a sound guy, Jeff. But thank you very much for your support. You were here like almost every show, if not every show. And that makes you a total badass, in my opinion. I think I hear my administrative assistant coming up the stairs because I really would like to get my mouth on this Buffalo Trace, you guys. Oh, I hear that sweet, sweet cough. Thank you, administrative assistant. Oh, two. The one with, no. Yeah, I'll take that one. I'll take the one that has my initials on it. That's pretty ballery, isn't it? Can you all see that? Yeah. I got that as a groomsman gift in like 1999 or something, right? That was the last Auburn football game that I did not watch. Yeah, it was Auburn was playing Appalachian State, and I had a real good friend of mine getting married, and was I best man in that? I don't remember. Anyway, he gave us these, and I still have them. And we're going to be drinking Buffalo Trace tonight. Would you like a pour, young lady? Oh, okay. This is the kind of serious stuff that we talk about here on the videos on National Signing Day. Wait, hold on, girl. I don't need you to cuck me like that. Okay, you do it. I already messed up earlier. Didn't even have the dang audio on. How lame is that? We got another super chat in. This one from Chris A. No message. I would love to read your message had you included it, but you didn't, and that's fine too, because we love you anyway. Thank you for your support of what we do here on the Brain Drain.
We need a bourbon super chat.
Yeah, well, we're doing well. BP and Jeff Chaney, and now Chris A. have jumped in. Oh my goodness, that's a heavy pour right there. Yeah. It is National Signing Day after all, right? Thank you, young lady. This is to you and to our viewers. Love you guys. It's a really good bourbon for the price. I paid $27 for this today. Although we have paid less for it in the past. I want to say I bought that last fall maybe for $22. But it's harder to find, it seems. It's good. This is the kind that you like. Yeah. I'd like for it to be a little more harsh, but that's okay. What are y'all drinking out there tonight? AU Taxman's drinking some Johnny Drum. They have that up at the tipping point, and I just hadn't had any yet. All right. Bye, administrative assistant. Let's see. I've fallen behind on the chats just a little bit. Chris says, have you tried a Delittling bourbon from Atmore? No, I saw that today and thought about snatching it. I mean, because I've worked my way through, and you guys who have been on the show a lot know, I mean, I've pretty much had most everything reasonable and accessible at this point. So I think I need to spread out a little bit. And that's one I want to keep an eye on. I've had the Clyde May, which is building a new distillery down near Troy, is what I've been told. So that's going to be almost local here before too long. But I have not tried that the Atmore one, and I will. That is my promise to you, particularly now that you're a super chatter. I missed something from Metal Fan. Dadgummit, I don't see it now. James said, did you recommend Town and Branch recently? Picked some up recently. I have not had that. There's so many that have popped up, and I just kind of stick with the ones that I know that are generally from Kentucky, and yours might be too. I just don't know. I haven't had that one. I need to write this down. You write these down, and we need to hit some of these. Metal Fan says, Jay, what would it take for you to join another university's beat? God dang. Because if it ever happens, I'll slap the piss out of somebody. The only thing I would ever want to do aside from this would be to cover a smaller school. And I don't understand. You would never do that for money, because once it gets really small, like let's say Troy or like Vanderbilt or something like that. And just because I think it would be so small at that point that I'd be like the only reporter covering the team, or maybe there'd be one more. And at that point, I just don't think the schools get so antsy about who's talking to who and how often you're talking to players, and can you go in the coaches' hall? Auburn's gotten really touchy about that, and I think a lot of schools are that are Auburn's size. I'd love to go somewhere a little smaller, but I like it here. Auburn's a great place. Jeff Cheney says he was at the game against Appalachian State. Yeah, that's the last game I missed, and last game I didn't see. And that was a good game. If I remember, I think Traveris saved the day that day, T-Rob. I want to say he had like a pick in the end zone or something like that. So, yeah. Sterling says, oh, God bless. Where are you at, bro? He says I need tips on getting this wet wood to burn at 16 degrees there. Oh, my goodness. I mean, it's like 50 here. Nah, it's probably a little cooler than that now. I think our high today was 50 here in central Alabama. Let's see what I'm showing now. 47 in Montgomery. Yikes. But 16, I don't know if it ever gets down to 16 here. Yeah. Anyway, AU Tax Fan's got the Johnny Drum. Auburn alumni is in the house. Says, yo, 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 happy early National Signing Day, Bunker. There you go. I know you got some people rustled earlier trying to talk some sense into these fools who are like, oh, the worst signing class ever. There's my man, Matthew M., last name redacted. Am I enjoying a midterm free day? My daughter is. I think she tested out or whatever, graded out, and didn't have to take any exams, any midterms this year. She was pretty fired up about that. I don't have anything else to add on her college search just yet. Still has about 5 finalists, and we'll see what's going on. You know, she's at the point now where she's gotten her regular financial aid packages, and now she's kind of contesting or trying to get more, you know, through essays or interviews or whatever. And then at the end, you know, I guess in March, we'll just kind of add it up, see what makes the most sense. Unless Transylvania comes through with a full ride and then it's over, right? Not really. Brandon is trying to rub it in my face, saying he's sitting here looking at his bottle of Angels Envy. You are a bad person. You know, I'd love to have some Angels Envy right now. I didn't realize that was distilled like in Louisville. I just, you know, it's just one of those that I just wasn't drinking a lot when I was younger. I don't even know if they were making it. I don't remember it. James says, scotch that starts with the G. Yeah, I've seen that too. I've not had scotch, and I'm afraid I would drink it and it would taste like ass. And then I like this stuff so much. I know I love this. Jeff Cheney says, Dems in House voting on impeachment right now. I'm glad we're not on a political chat, because I bet it would be pretty hot right now. Fortunately, I just really don't care very much. I'm not very political. I get tired of just all the BS. Everybody's got it now. And I just want a station or a channel where it's like down the middle, and I don't think it exists anymore. You know, because it's like I watch Fox, and I can kind of tell when they're full of shit. When I go to my mom's house, she's a big MSNBC person. I can tell when they're full of shit. So I'm just like, my filter's always going. I wish there was a channel I could watch that I didn't have to worry about the filter. Bradley Groover in the house with a super chat. Thank you for your support, bro. Says Ronnie Brown was a 3-star like many more studs. I don't remember that. But I do remember Ronnie Brown was definitely not the crown jewel of that class. In fact, as I recall, I think there was a tailback named Corey Evans, maybe, out of Memphis, that Tubb thought was going to be, like, he considered above Ronnie in the pecking order when they signed. And then that cat ended up going into the armed forces instead of coming to college. And I kind of always wondered what happened to him. I'm sure I could get an answer to that. It's pretty weak. Jeff Cheney says, hey, JG, getting a glitch on the video feed. Is your hotspot overloaded? No, I'm on, oh, geez, you know what? Oh, boy. I am on Wi-Fi, even though I'm plugged in. I tell you what, I'm going to turn off my Wi-Fi, and there may be actually a glitch on that, but since I'm already plugged in, it shouldn't be a bad one. I was hoping that since I was on a hard line, it would just know right away, like, dude doesn't want to use his Wi-Fi tonight, but let's see what we got here. Auburn alumni says, saw several tweets from ESPN guys talking up Ladarius Tennyson. Yes, we've got to start calling him Lord Tennyson, right? Defensive back, very rangy. I don't want to give any spoilers away, but Jay Lee thought very highly of that particular signee and thinks that kid's going to be absolute business. Auburn alumni says that 99 App State game, Ronnie Daniels saved the day. Is that true? I thought it was T-Rob. I mean, Ronnie probably had a great game because he was great that whole that whole year. That was such a strange year for me with Ronnie because, like, I still am, but I was really into minor league baseball back then, and I knew of Ronnie when he was with the Expos. Not personally, but I knew that he was a baseball player and that he was moving up along with a guy named Milton Bradley, who was a better prospect, but was on the same team in the same track, same age. And so when I ended up meeting Ronnie Daniels and he was a wide receiver at Auburn, it was just weird for me. I was kind of starstruck in a way. I was like, I know you, you know. And he was kind of like, holy shit, that guy actually does know about me as a baseball player. Oh, boy. Auburn alumni recalls lots of boos for Ben that day coming out. Then Ben turns into a damn good QB that season and carried over to 2000. Yeah, Ben, man. I can remember in 98, Ben was a damn mess, and they couldn't get the situation straightened out at quarterback. They were let's see, they were going with Gabe a little bit because Ben wasn't doing very well. And then there was a lot of clamoring for Miko Collier to get some snaps. And Jim Bob Striplin, who's now a successful high school coach in the state, was like another guy they were talking about. I think he was a walk-on at that point. Anyway, bad situation in 99 for quarterbacks. No, I take it back. That was 98, wasn't it? I was talking about 98 because that was the disastrous season. 99, you're right, Ben. A little shaky in the beginning, but then he kind of built to that Georgia game, which he was insane in that game, and so was Ronnie. Ben Leard really is one of the all-time great guys, though. I mean, and that's back in the era when we knew the players. I mean, I knew Ben Leard. At that time, I was probably 25, and he was 21 or whatever, and I knew Ben, and I could talk to Ben, and I could call Ben. I don't really talk to him as much anymore, except when I see him at a basketball game or whatever. I mean, he's big time. I hope you're watching, Ben. I used to ask Ben all the time about his concussions. Remember, he had a lot of concussions. I'm glad he's not having any latent problems with that. It was almost like a joke at the time because we didn't know how serious concussions were at the time, and he would get knocked out. It seemed like every third or fourth week, And remember at Arkansas, he got completely knocked out, and they didn't get him back real quick. And I mean, nowadays you'd be like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And then like the next Tuesday when I saw him, we were like joking about how he got knocked out or whatever. Times change a lot. Another Auburn alumni memory. He lived next to DeMontre Carter in Sewell Hall back in the day. Dude kept trying to sell me his purple vest. DeMontre was something else, wasn't he? I ended up covering DeMontre a little bit at Troy in 99, 98, 99. Back then we were flipping beats a little bit. It might have been 98. I think DeMontre left Auburn and then went to Troy right away. That's right, because Troy was still down in like 1AA. And so in 98, I was splitting time between Auburn and Troy. And, he was like the de facto number one tailback for Troy back then. And DeMontre was he was one of those guys who was kind of mean, but in a funny way, but in a really dry way. And I can remember there was a tailback back in the day named Marques Burks from Kenner, Louisiana, I believe. And he told DeMontre one day, he said, man, I got a headache. What would you do? And he said, 2 to the head is exactly what he told him. That's like DeMontre humor. I'm not suggesting anybody do that. Just saying. Sean Tanger, I don't know how to say that right. Thank you very much for your super chat, bro. I wish you had a little message in there. I'd be happy to say it, even if it demeans myself. But thank you for your support of the show. You are the man. No doubt. I love the super chatters. Thank you so much. Plains Old Joel reminds us that Khalil Mack was a 2-star out of high school. Went to University of Buffalo. How about that, huh? That 99 Auburn wide receiver core was damn good. It's just so far back now, I can't remember. Was that like Marcel Willis? Was he on the team by that point? He was a great guy, too. From Jacksonville. Chip, I know the chat's a little bit behind. I'm still trying to catch up. Yes, Ronnie Daniels and Milton Bradley were Montreal Expos farmhands. Yes. Up in Vermont at the time. And then Milton Bradley ended up being absolutely crazy. I don't know if you guys remember that, but he had a real anger management problem. But he and Ronnie were pretty tight. I don't know if they are now. Let's see what else. Sorry, guys. I fell behind a little bit here. Saban is short. Saban is short. That's a great name. I like that. Declarative sentence. Jay Lee tossed folks in trash cans today. Hey, you got to give Jay Lee credit. His predictions were like super, super good. We've all missed on a few predictions, me included, through the years. I don't usually dabble too much in recruiting because Jeffrey Lee knows his shit way more than I do. But, Jeffrey Lee was right on. Jason Turner says, this is try Angels Envy Rye. They finish it in rum barrels. I don't like rye whiskey, but I love that stuff. Dude, I'll take that for sure. I'll take any Angels Envy at this point. I'm just going to have to wait it out, I guess, at my ABC and see what I can find out. Auburn alumni, Ben and Klein, 99. Was 99 the year that Klein was like the backup and he played some? So I'm going to tell you what, dude. That day when Jeff Klein had to start at Tennessee and he started out with a pick six, Klein was he was really jittery. Back in those days, we could talk to players and stuff. I mean, I kind of knew him. And he was really, really nervous. And I thought this is no way to go into this game because back in those days, Tennessee was really good. And sure enough, it didn't go very well. Gabe Gross was the quarterback in 98, wore number 22. Actually, eventually got demoted to punt protector, which is BS. Ends up being a Major League Baseball player and just a really, really good baseball player. A really good athlete, too. Underrated as an athlete. Love the Cats with a super chat. What up, man? You are definitely our most consistent super chatter, and for that, I love you. I was actually having a conversation with Jay Lee about you. I think he must have seen you on the chat saying Minor sucks or whatever, and he's like, what's that guy's problem? And I was like, nah, he likes you. He's just kidding around, man. I'm falling behind, guys. I'm so sorry. Seriously. Auburn alumni says, I knew Michael, hung out with him, Reggie Worthy, Kenny Kelly, and Sewell. Yeah, Reggie Worthy's another good guy. Man, those bring back the old days for me. Because, I knew those guys, not Worthy as much. I knew who he was. But, yeah, Klein and Ben Leard and James Callier. Love James Callier, man. The last guy I felt like I was kind of friends with, was probably Senderic. I don't know how long ago that was, maybe 08. Back in those days, I would play Xbox with, like, him and P. Lee. I still play some with P. Lee. And Quentin. Quentin was the worst Call of Duty player you've ever seen. So stupid. He'd run down the middle of the street with his guns out. He'd go, 1 in 25 or something, and Senderic is just like, get out of the damn street, man. And then Quentin would be like, what? Never could get T-Will to play, though. T-Will was just not feeling video games. Back in those days, T-Will and Quentin were always together, like best friends. But T-Will would always rag on him for playing video games. He just saw that as a waste of time. All right. Yeah, Auburn alumni, great call. Callier was Hollywood. I thought that James Callier, when he was done with football, now he got hurt and he wasn't quite as good anymore. I thought he would be a sports broadcaster because he just had that delivery and he was so easy to talk to. I just thought he would be awesome at that, but I guess he hadn't done that. Alex Lincoln's another one, AU Taxman. The guy who transferred into Auburn from Division II or something from Mobile. Alex Lincoln's a tough dude, man. When I think about the toughest players I've covered, Alex Lincoln's right in there. There was no injury that would keep him out of a game. Larry Casher, see money, fine defensive back. Larry Casher. 99, here, Yummy Woo. 99 talk has me thinking, what was the bigger one player ad? Rudy in 2000 or Cam in 2010? That's a great question. You think Cam won the Heisman, and I don't think that team probably wins, maybe 8 games without Cam Newton. He's a walking, talking third down conversion. Rudy, I think he kind of gets forgotten. Not that Auburn people forgot who he is, but I think that because when he came in, he was such a huge guy. He was such an important signee, and he came in and he just brought just meanness and aggression to that position. And it was like the offensive line had to get better because Rudy was just going to run people over. And I thought that was a really big signee. That's a good point, Yummy Woo. I hadn't thought about that. Your first reflex is to say Cam, of course, but then you start thinking about it, and Rudy he's when Auburn started changing directions, where it was like Auburn was the hapless losers in 98. Tuberville was trying to get them going in 99, and I thought to some degree he did get it restarted. And then in 2000, that's when you had Rudy, and they started beating ass. And that kind of set up the 2003 team should have been really good, right? I think that team was more talented than the 04 team, but they just got off to a bad start. Stoop Up says, Alex Lincoln called me a player at a house party one time. Shit, dude, that's awesome. If Alex Lincoln says you're a player, then you're a player by me, bud. I'm going to start calling you player pup. Alex Lincoln. Man, we're going through all the guys back in the day. Ed Darby says Kenny Irons was the man. Man, Kenny Irons and David Irons, man, those two guys, nobody has more fun than those two. Kenny Irons has never had a day where it wasn't just awesome. He's not even had a kind of nice day. He's had a great day every single day, man. Every day. Love that. Damon Cayley says that Rudy Wyoming run was legendary. Yeah, it was ridiculous. That is ridiculous. That is on par with some of the shit that Cam pulled off. Just as far as physical feats and just carrying dudes, it is pathetic, man. That's also, I think the Wyoming game was when Sleepy, we used to call him Sleepy. Who was that defensive back that just absolutely killed that guy? I thought he'd killed the guy. Can't remember his name. His son, we recruited his son. We were dealing with him in recruiting. It was really weird to have covered the son of somebody I covered, as a recruit now. I can't remember his name. Who was that guy? He wore number 3. Oh, anyway. We're just reminiscing, and I'm just BSing. We're just having fun, man. It's signing day, and we're just kind of having fun with it. So Auburn signed 22 today. I thought they had some really critical victories that were not on the board. I mean, they came in with, I think, 20 commitments. Does that sound about right? And they ended up adding, as I work my way through here, they ended up adding Pegues out of Oxford, Mississippi, a guy that that Gus, he thinks he's going to be like a ready-made, like a Wildcat expert. So this dude is, I think he's listed at 6'2", 300. Now, that seems like kind of chubby. If you told me, hey, the guy's 6'2", 300, what do you think? I'd be like, he's probably a little chubby. But then I don't think he is. He's just a massive human being. He's averaging 30 points a game playing basketball. And I know that doesn't really matter on the football field. That it tells me the guy's an athlete. Rashad Walker. No, Rashad Walker's a different player. I know Rashad. Come on, somebody's got to get the right answer here. I'll know. Oh, no, it was Rashard Gilliard. It just came to me. Rashard Gilliard. Rashad Walker wore, I think, 37. And Rashad was another guy who just every single day was a great day. I loved covering Rashad Walker. The sad thing about him, if you guys remember, his mom got killed in a car accident at like a railroad crossing, I think. It got stuck on a railroad crossing and got hit. Golly, that was terrible. And she was so cool. I mean, that was back when you could kind of hang out with players, and his mom was like so energetic and cool. All right, Ryan. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. 8689 says RLN 2011 word. I just let go of my nips. Good day, WDE. Thank you for the super chat, Ryan. I'll go ahead and just put your regular handle down. RLN 2011. Appreciate you, bro. Going back to the signing class here. So Pegues was a guy they added today, and he's a little bit of a. I know people were bitching on the bunker because it was kind of one of those deals where if Alabama had wanted him, then he was probably going to go to Alabama. I don't really know what's going on in Alabama, so I can't say if they offered him or they didn't. But he didn't want to go to Ole Miss, and Pegues' dad had a relationship with Larry Porter, I think it was, and man, I'm telling you, Gus is really fired up at that kid, for what it's worth. They added Eric Reed, definitely late. There was a lot of chatter on the bunker that UGA was still in really good shape at like noon or whatever, because that one came down to Auburn and Georgia. But the people that we have been talking with over at Georgia who know what they're talking about were like completely done. They're like, no, he's going to Auburn, no doubt. So, I mean, Jeffrey Lee was on top of that for sure. And I was told by one of our friends at UGA Sports, who at one time they thought he was going to go to Georgia, was telling me that Kirby saw him as a safety. So in Shreveport at that school, he played like center field, and he's super, super rangy, and he's a really good hitter. He's a collider. But I think Auburn was listing him as a cornerback, and I mean, that's not really what he played. So we listed him as a safety, or I did here. Of course, I screwed up and put Chris Thompson as a linebacker. I'm sorry, guys. He's definitely a defensive back. But anyway, Eric Reed, I put him as a safety because that's kind of what he does. He's a center fielder. Super, super rangy. So they added him. So that's 2. And then Romello Height went ahead and flipped him away from Miami. He was the guy, if you guys were on the show on Sunday, when Jay Lee was like, we don't need to be talking about this. That was the guy they were talking about. He took a secret visit. Sorry, I had to text a B-man. He took a secret visit. He's a Miami commit. Secret visit over the weekend, and then they flipped him. He's a 3-star, but he's good. He's a good one. So they got those kids. They added those kids, and they already had a pretty good class. The one disappointment, and I think we went through this on Tuesday, was the kid that went to Kentucky, the offensive lineman who was going to play left tackle, Jeremy Flax. And yeah, that was a minus. That was a loss. Auburn hadn't taken a bunch of losses in this class, but that was the one. And if there is a criticism of this of this group of kids. It's that you don't have like the number one offensive lineman. But there is a kid, and the name's escaping me, and you guys probably know. I'm named out right now. Who was going to go to Georgia, and he was committed, and they sent him the stuff, and he just passed today. He just said, "No, I'm good. I'm going to wait." And Auburn feels like they can flip him. And he's a bad man. Like he's a 5-star, 4-star. You know, he's some kind of a major tackle. If they end up getting him in the February window, all of a sudden I think you do have that star. Broderick Jones. Thank you, Auburn alumni. Broderick Jones is definitely his name. And if they get him, all of a sudden this offensive line class goes from just, being numerous to being pretty good. Jeffrey Lee's really big on Avery Jernigan, and I am too. I mean, centers are kind of tricky because some of the things that make a center great are just really hard to see. Like when you go to like a rivals camp or a satellite camp, it's just you're playing inside and it's a different set of skills. I mean, like you look at Reese Dismukes, who was one of the best centers ever to play at Auburn, and there's been some good ones going back to Ben Tamburello before that. He was not a superstar athlete. He was just a damn good center. And there's just different things that go along with that position. You remember Jeremy Engel back in the day? He was a really good center. Joe Cope. Two guys that I think they would tell you to your face they weren't great athletes, but they were just mean, and they were consistent, they were persistent, and they were very bright about making their changes and getting things set up. Yeah. Jay Lee thinks a lot of Avery Jernigan, although he's not on his hot shot chart. Let me go ahead and see if we can get hooked up with Jay Lee here. Well, yeah, let me see. I want to start with Jay Lee if I can. I know this is scintillating video. Hold on just a second. He was going full blast for a while. The last, let's say, 3 or 4 days. So, wow, we got somebody on the chat called JGT. John Grisham Thomas is your name. It's great to have you here, John. Doing a great job. Cleveland Brown jokes it's payback for Pickens. Oh, it might be a double payback because Pickens himself might not be there anymore, and then Auburn would be able to flip Broderick, and that would be a double. That'd be a love you, Kirby. All right, we're gonna call Jay Lee now, get him on the horn, and see what he has to say about this situation here. Skype. Get this Skype fired up. John Grisham Thomas says, my boy JGT is too good to kick his dog. I would never kick my dog for reals. Definitely wouldn't do that. Jeffrey. That's my guy right there. Plus, I have a pug, man. I don't need to kick a dog. Sausage Broker asks about the NC State game. We will definitely talk about that a little bit later in the show. That's a big one, man. Big game. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. Gets the hated NC State Wolfpack. But for now, let's get the legend Jeff Lee on the phone. How about you, Big Daddy? How you doing?
Oh, man, I'm glad you called. I'm ready to go to bed.
For reals?
Oh, man, yeah. Yeah, man.
I was hoping that maybe you'd just have like a little pull of some bourbon or whatever.
Man, I really think I should come up and we should just get hammered on the show.
I've got plenty of room. I'm drinking Buffalo Trace, and I'd love to share it with you.
Were you drinking some small batch the other night?
I drink all kinds of small batch, bro. I don't even remember what I was drinking the other night. It tells you how much I was drinking.
Oh, man, that's one of my favorites.
What, just small batch?
Single barrel. No, it's, what you drinking? Damn, I forgot. It's the good stuff, man. Anyways, whatever.
I want you to know that I thought you did a fine job, and everybody in this chat agrees with me.
Thank you. It was, I told Jason Caldwell, me and him sat up there today, and I said, our job's a lot easier when Auburn gets folks.
And that happened today. There was a lot of Auburn getting folks today, wasn't there?
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, there was.
It was it's kind of how you expect all signing days to go, but very rarely do they.
Yeah, you've seen a few in your day that did not go well, didn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Man, there's been some bad ones, but it was a really good day. I'm telling you, I was very pleased, very impressed with how Auburn closed out this class. The last going back to maybe it started all really the momentum really started after the Georgia game with some of these other cats. You know, that's when Romello Height came in. That's when Broderick Jones came in. A lot of visitors for the Georgia game, then again for the Alabama game. Then Auburn had the 2 official visit weekends. Certainly didn't get everybody they wanted to, but they got the majority of them. And I think Gus said that today.
Yeah.
And listening to you before you called, I think you nailed it. As far as somebody asked me today up at the complex, you know, what would you grade our class? And I was like an A-, and the minus being that the lack of, you know, a truly elite, I love that word, offensive tackle. I think that's the only thing that they were missing in this class.
Yeah, we were talking about that too. I mean, if they can get Broderick, if they can flip him or whatever, get him in the February window, all of a sudden this class takes another step forward, you know.
And, you know, I hadn't really given them much chance with Broderick Jones. But after talking to some folks today, I'm beginning to change my tune on that. I really think Auburn has a legitimate chance with Broderick Jones come February.
Ooh. And is he a 4-star or 5-star?
He's a 5-star. He's exactly what Auburn is missing from this class. I mean, he's the guy who could come in and compete and legitimately compete. You know, not like you ever want a true freshman playing tackle in the SEC, but he has that talent, that ability. He is truly elite. I'm trying to look him up now. He's the number 18 overall player in the country, number 3 offensive tackle.
That's a hit for Georgia, too. The fact that they sent him the paperwork and he's like, nah, I'm good. I mean, that's got to be sobering.
There were some guffaws in the complex today.
Guffaws all around, baby.
Guffaws all around.
And Auburn took another one to Georgia with Eric Reed, too, right? I mean, that's a kid that Georgia really wanted and thought they'd have a shot at.
Well, they thought that they could have their pick of who they had left, and come to find out they didn't. They got a guy yesterday. Major Burns committed yesterday afternoon. Dante Manning was in there. Kelly Ringo was in there. Eric Reed was in there. And things just kind of fell apart for them a little bit last night. And I think you mentioned this too, was Georgia saw him more as a safety, whereas Auburn, he's a true cornerback as far as they're concerned, and that's what he wanted to play.
Okay.
And Marques Woodson was phenomenal with this kid. He really did a great job, and we've seen the effects of Marques Woodson on Auburn's staff for the past 2 classes now. Just look at Auburn's defensive back class this year. Crime Dog, Weston McGriff, and Marques Woodson really teamed up to get Chris Thompson out of Texas, to get Eric Reed out of Louisiana, Marco Domio out of Texas, JUCO, and who's the other?
Well, I mean, those guys are working on Pegues too, right?
Oh, Ladarius Tennyson, who I love.
Yeah, I know you do.
Those 4 cats in the defensive backfield, that's a hell of a class, man.
You want to go through some of those lists you and I came up with early? Well, actually, you came up with early in the day. You want to go through a few of those?
Sure, absolutely.
All right, let's start off with our hidden gems, Jay Lee's hidden gems. We're going to start off with there's 5 guys here that Jay Lee thought was not necessarily out of the way recruits, but guys that maybe weren't headliners that he thinks are going to have a chance to be real studs in time. We'll start out with wideout Elijah Canyon. You think a lot of him?
I do. I think he is underrated. I really like Elijah Canyon, like his height, I like his ability to go get the ball. He's got some tenacity to him. He's got like an attitude. I like a receiver with some attitude. He's a real smart kid too. 3-star, but what Auburn got him early, and then you saw Dan Mullen make a late push, and it was a legit late push. Florida and Dan Mullen really wanted this kid. He was very high on Florida's board. But he came in for an official visit last weekend, came in with his parents, and that really, answered any questions that he still had. So I think Elijah Cannon, with all those other 4-star, you got Toby Hudson 4-star, J.J. Evans 4-star, Xavier Capers, Robles 250, and then you got little old Elijah Canyon of the group. And I guess that's why I'm calling him a hidden gem. He's the least ranked wide receiver in Auburn's class, and I think he's got the upside to be one of the best.
Yeah. Another guy you've got on your hidden gems is Avery Jernigan, a guy who doesn't necessarily get a lot of love on the recruiting service front. But I was saying earlier, man, when you got a center, it's kind of hard sometimes at a camp to tell who's a good center and who's not. Sometimes it's stuff that you just kind of have to know and see, and you think Avery Jernigan's got it.
Well, not so much he's never played center, and that's the only thing. But what I like about Avery, he's very football smart. He's very smart off the field. He's got a good head on his shoulder, all the things that you want in the center. You talked about Joe Pope. You talked about Jeremy Engel, Reese Dismukes, Ryan Pugh. All of those guys, really good head on their shoulders, and played with a mean streak. And Avery's got that backcountry attitude that a lot of people desire in an offensive lineman, especially on the interior. Avery's very athletic. I don't think he'll have a much of an issue making the transition to center. I think he's of Auburn signees inside Jeremiah Wright, Tate Johnson. I think Avery Jernigan's probably got the higher ceiling of the three.
Mm-hmm.
So he's just a lowly 3-star as well. I thought maybe people gave up on him, didn't take a look at his senior tape, and I just like where he's headed. I think he could be a 3-year starter. And make a real big impact at Auburn before he leaves.
Their next hidden gem is a guy I know you feel very, very strongly about, Marco Domio, defensive back out of Blinn Junior College, a place that Auburn's had some success before.
Yes. Love Marco Domio. Love his length, love his height. Got NFL. I mean, he looks like an NFL cornerback, prototypical guy. He's fast. He's got great ball skills. You watch his video. I watched his freshman tape again the other day. That's the first time I'd seen. The first time I saw Marco, I watched his freshman tape. His stats don't jump out at you. I think he had 2 interceptions his sophomore season, but that's because people were throwing away from him. So I really like him. I think he can come in and be an immediate guy. He's enrolling in January, so he'll go through spring and be able to step in, I think, at Auburn and be a day one starter.
Yeah, there's going to be some spots for guys to play a whole lot. Tisdale, linebacker that T-Will was high on the whole way through. Tell me about him.
He reminds me of T-Will. He's an undersized guy. He flies to the football, and he will knock your dick in the dirt. He's just how T-Will likes to call them thumpers. KJ Britt's the thumper. Owen Papo's the thumper. This is the ideal T-Will linebacker that T-Will fought for. He fought for Desmond Tisdale to be in this class. And, a week ago, that wasn't going to happen. Desmond was headed to Tennessee on a visit Friday. He was going to end up going to Tennessee. And T-Will, he was going to make his decision, I believe, last night initially. And T-Will went in Friday night, and he went back to the complex and really worked on his superiors and convinced them that he really wanted Desmond Tisdale, and they convinced him enough to get him in this class. And I really like Desmond. He wanted to be at Auburn. This has been his dream. He loves Travis Williams. This kid is from the same high school as Nick Marshall. So he's got some backwoods in him too. But I really like him, even though he's a little undersized. That's never stopped Auburn. That's never stopped anybody at Auburn from having success at linebacker.
Hell no. And your last hidden gem was Romello Height, a guy that Auburn flipped away from Miami here kind of late. What do you see about him? I know BMAT thinks he's going to be a great pass rusher.
Yeah, that Auburn had to have a pass rusher in this class, and Romello Height's got that speed off the edge that Auburn really lacked as a threat this year. I'm not saying he can come in as a freshman and do that, but I'm saying he can be that guy in 2 years. I think he needs a year in the system just to put on some weight. I think he's 6'3", 215-ish. But I thought that was a big get. I know Kevin Steele, Rodney Garner, they both love this kid. He is I absolutely believe he is underrated as a 3-star recruit. State champion at Dublin, Georgia. Just a really, really good football player. I think will be able to help Auburn sooner rather than later.
Word. All right, let's take a look at some of Jay Lee's big dogs.
Hey, hold on. Look, before we pass on Romello, I'll give everybody kind of a rundown of what happened with his recruitment.
Hey, give it to me like Tuberville style, too.
So, I knew Auburn was looking at Romello Height. They've been recruiting him, but, we going back to Georgia game in November. So, Philip Webb was still the guy at the time. Philip Webb was there. Keith and I were outside and we talked to him, and he wasn't smitten like he once was with Auburn. And then we saw Romello Height and we said, well, hell, we'll grab him. He's committed to Miami. Let's see what he has to say. And he just came out and told us, hey, I'm probably going to flip to Auburn, but don't put it out there, and don't even say that I was visiting here. And we were like, oh, sure, man. If that's what you want, absolutely. And he actually gave us quotes right there, then and there, and said, I'm probably going to do it. I'm going to do it. But I don't know when. I'll probably do it on my official visit. We're like, okay, cool. And I I was like, okay, of course. I mean, Keith and I gave him our word that we'd keep it quiet, and we never said he visited that weekend. He came back for an official visit last weekend, this past weekend, and walked in, and this is hilarious. Keith and I were sitting up there at the complex, and Romello walks in, and there's 2 newspaper people up there as well, and we knew that they didn't have any reason not to tell people that Romello Height was there. And so Romello kind of has his hoodie on, pulled down tight, and he goes to the elevator there in the lobby, and I shoot him a text. I said, hey, dude, we're still good. We're not going to tell anybody. And actually, I talked to him last week, and he said, I'm coming in for official visit. Let's keep it quiet. I said, no problem. You got my word. So he come in, and he saw me, just kind of met eyes. So when he got on the elevator, I shot him a text and said, hey, man, we're going to keep it quiet. He threw his finger up at me, and I was like, all right, cool. So he leaves. He goes out the side door so the other reporters don't see him. And that afternoon, I'm coming out of the grocery store, and I got a text from Romello, and he was like, hey, man, what happened to keeping it quiet? And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, man, these Miami reporters are just hitting me up about me being in Auburn. And I was like, dude, I gave you my word, man. And I'm telling you right now, I haven't told anybody. I will not tell anybody. So they didn't hear it from me. So I called Keith, and I was like, hey, dude, Romello just called me or texted me saying, what's going on here? And he goes, did you ask him if I had anything to do with his the photos he put up on his Facebook page?
Yeah, damn, man, that was pretty obvious.
So he sends me a screenshot. Romello Height's Facebook page, he had all of his photos, Todd's photos with him in his Auburn gear and all this, all over his Facebook page. And I'm going, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, right.
So he had put up all these and then wanted to blame me. Or he wasn't blaming me. He was asking me. I was like, no, dude. And so he was cool. He denied it. He denied it to Miami. And he basically, and what he told me is that it's none of their business. If they want to call me and ask me that stuff, it's none of their business. So they're taking that chance of whether I'm telling the truth or not. I don't have to tell the truth. Not to reporters. I don't want them calling me. So if they're going to call me, I'll give them what they want.
Now, recruiting is treachery, Jay Lee. It's treachery.
And see, that's what we have to deal with as recruiting reporters, pissing off kids and having them lie to us. That's the worst.
Yeah.
But even after that, so after he came out with all this Miami, I'm locked in 1,000% committed, can't wait to be at the U. I'm hearing from Auburn that, man, they're kind of worried. And I think it's like 50-50. And I'm like, well, damn. Yesterday I was like, hey, dude, everything's still on? You still signing with Auburn? And he said, yes, sir. That was last night before I went to sleep. It was one of the reasons that I put up who I felt good about and one of them was, of course, Romello Height. So I took him at his word, and he came through. I checked with him again this morning. He's set. Everything's ready to go. And so that's how kind of all that popped up. And that's why I thought it was I didn't feel it right for me to even mention the guy's name. Keith had put him on his top targets list, and even before we had seen him at the Georgia game. So I had to find a way to kind of get him back in there. So I think I had put him on I had to do the targets list and got him back on there with a low confidence level of Auburn flipping him, which was kind of me manipulating the system. But I wanted our subscribers to know that there was that chance.
Yeah. All right, you want to move on to big dogs?
Yes.
Hell yeah, you do. Okay, hidden gems down, big dogs up. Number one, J. Lee Big Dog is the man himself, Cartavius Tank Bigsby, 5-star tailback, and just pretty much a badass. Tell me about that.
Okay. We talked about the offense didn't have was that home run hitter at offensive tackle. The thing Auburn needed in this class, and I'm sure Brian Matthews will harp on this more than anything, Brian Matthews wanted Auburn to sign a truly elite running back. He thought Auburn should be able to do that, and that's exactly what Cadillac Williams went out and did. He is, like Gus said, he's a potential one-play drive. He can take you to the house, something we didn't see an Auburn running back. I think DJ had that one run against, who was it, LSU, 80-something yards.
Yeah, where he ran out of bounds, yeah.
Yeah, right. I think Tank has the ability to do that a lot more often. He can make you miss in the hole. And what I really like about Tank, and Gus mentioned this today, is his hands out of the backfield. And you know how Gus likes to throw to the running backs. It's the quickest way for you to get on the field as a running back is to, one, hold on to the football, know your assignments, blocking the passing, and be able to pick up blitzes and catch the football. I think this kid can do it all. I think we talked about the last show. The only thing he needs to do is work on holding on to the football, fumbling. I think he had some problems with that his senior year, but that's obviously something that you can get fixed. Cadillac Williams will be working on that. But I really liked some of the – I'll be able to tell some of the behind-the-scenes stuff here about Tank's recruitment. You know, Georgia never, ever gave up on this kid.
No.
Dale McGee parked up at Tank's house last week, waited on him, and went in and made a real aggressive last pitch to Tank. And Tank said, no, I love Auburn. I love Cadillac Williams. It's where I want to be. It's where my mom wants me to be. And that's where I'm happy. And there's nothing you can do to change my mind. And that's when Georgia finally, conceded. But Cadillac Williams' mother, I think, played a part in this as well. And talking to Tank's mom, I think they had a lot in common. Cadillac had been through this, back in his day at Etowah, in Etowah. Is that right?
Yep.
So they had a lot in common. They hit it off, and it's huge. And Cadillac, you know him now as a coach, and how well he still relates to these kids. And I think Tank just was really, they just meshed really well together. Their personalities, and then their mothers did too. It was just a perfect fit for Auburn, and it really worked out, well. And to get the number one running back in the country in Cadillac's first year, I thought was indicative of what we can expect from him in the future.
It's pretty big. The next big dog on the list, Jay Lee, is Ladarius Lord Tennyson, defensive back from South Florida?
Yes, sir.
And you think he's going to be a beast?
Yes. I do, man. I mean, this kid can do it all. He really can. Running back, he did it all in high school. He's the perfect nickel star in Auburn's defense. He's very athletic. He's very fast. He's got great speed. I think Gus said today he was a returner. You watch some of his highlight tape. Most of them was with the ball in his hands. But this kid, he is just a really, really good all-around football player. He can do a little bit of everything, and everything he does is really good. There's nothing average about his game.
Next big dog is another defensive back, Chris Thompson Jr. Out of Texas, a guy that seemed like kind of a weird pickup when they did it because it was really down to Auburn and Texas, and you'd think Auburn would really struggle to go into Texas and get a kid, but they got this one.
Yeah, crime dog. That big deal. Wesley McGriff went in with Chris, and I couldn't believe when I was going through Auburn's defensive back class today that, unbeknownst to me, Chris Thompson had slid to a 3-star in these last rankings updates last week, which I thought was blasphemous. I mean, that was he's a damn good football player at the safety position. I think you've got cornerback Eric Reed, you've got Marco Domio, you've got Chris Thompson at safety, and you've got Ladarius Tennyson nickel. I love Chris Thompson. He's got great range back there in the backfield. He is another hard hitter. He loves contact. Really good kid, really smart kid. He comes from a great family. You're not going to have any trouble out of this guy.
Yeah.
But you will on the football field. Really like Chris Thompson, and I think he's very underrated as a 3-star.
Oh, he's a 3-star right now. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I just figured that out today.
Yeah, that's crazy. I figured he was a 4.
He was a Rivals 250 guy for the longest, and then all of a sudden he's down to a 3-star.
Yeah, I wonder what that's all about. Getting down here on the last few big dogs, Zacchaeus Walker, defensive end, another guy you think has a chance maybe in a year or two to be a difference maker?
Yeah. Love Zacchaeus, man. Love the. I think he is. Everybody says he's kind of in the mold of Marlon Davidson. I completely agree with that. Of course, we saw Marlon bulk up, big time throughout his career at Auburn. I think we'll see Zacchaeus in a similar, growth pattern and in a similar mold. One thing about Zacchaeus, and this is going to go back to Broderick Jones. When I first met Zacchaeus and interviewed him back in the spring, and I know this sounds weird, but I think Auburn people understand this, is I talked to a kid, and he just seems like an Auburn kid. It's hard to explain what I mean by that, but like I said, I think Auburn people understand what I mean by that. He just feels like an Auburn kid. He doesn't. To me, he's not Georgia. He's not Alabama. But all the buzz throughout his recruitment was Georgia, and I'm kind of going, well, maybe it is, maybe but and what I bring Broderick Jones into that is he's kind of the same way. That's why I think Auburn has a better shot with Jones than I initially thought. I think Broderick Jones is a lot like Zacchaeus in that he's quote unquote that Auburn kind of guy.
Yeah.
So he's not flashy. He's not looking for the things that a lot of kids going to Georgia are. And I don't mean anything illegal or anything like that. I'm just saying he's got a different type of mindset that typical guys at Auburn is typical from guys at Auburn.
He's here to work.
But yes, that's right. I really like Zacchaeus. I think he's going to be a great player. All SEC, a lot of potential there.
The final guy in your big dog group is wideout Toby Hudson, who's got definitely more of a headline type player, but still somebody you think is going to be an absolute beast in time.
I do. I think he's a game breaker. He can do a lot of different things, and he's a lot like Tennyson. He's not average at anything he does. He's played quarterback the past 2 years, and he's done it really well. He can catch the ball. He can return punts, return kicks. He's got great hands. He's very fluid. He's very athletic. Nothing he does is awkward. And I really like Toby Hudson. One of the things off the field is that, he was the first in this class. He stuck with Auburn, stayed committed for so long. I believe he told me Sunday he was coming to campus today to begin. I know Gus didn't mention him today in the bowl practice.
He did not, no.
But Kobe told me Sunday that Kobe, Zacchaeus, Tank, and maybe Tate Johnson were all going to be going through bowl practices with Auburn, or at least they were trying to. Tate was trying to. Tank and Zacchaeus and Kobe were according to Kobe, going to go through bowl practices starting today.
Damn, cool. That would be good. I mean, earlier the better.
I thought, Kobe, we talked about Kobe playing quarterback. You heard Gus today say that, and I could definitely see a package of him in the Wildcat, who's a threat to throw the football and not just, a boot. Kobe Cat.
I think Gus wants to go with Pegues as his Wildcat, but, we'll see. It's all pie in the sky stuff at this point.
Boy, he loved him some Pegues today, didn't he?
I know, he sure did. I was surprised that would be the guy you would just be like losing your mind over, but it's really fired up.
298. And didn't you tell me he's averaging 30 points a game in basketball?
Yeah, I know, man. He's an athlete now. That's the kind of stuff that like Nick Fairley and Senderic used to do stuff like that.
You're exactly right, and that's why. I mean, I think we talked about this today. I thought he would end up at defensive tackle, and either you or B-Mac came back in there and was like, Gus said, hell no. Of course he didn't. He said, hey, heck no.
Oh, heck no. I'm in no crap on that, no.
But you look at his video from high school, he doesn't look 300 pounds.
No,
he looks 240. He's actually lining up in the running back, wide receiver. He's doing all these things. He was MVP of the state championship game. He accounted for over 1,200 yards of total offense, and I think 10 or more touchdowns, 10 to 12 touchdowns. The kid really can do it. And, Larry Porter was a big, big reason Pegues named Auburn his leader early. Now, it was known that Alabama was kind of his dream school. And if Alabama was going to make a push for him, then Auburn felt like it would be tough to stay number one. I think talking to some guys in our Alabama side, Andrew, I think one of the things that could have factored into Alabama was I talked about Darnell Washington and Alabama wanting to go after him, and that they felt like if Pegues was there, that it might give him a hiccup with Washington. But there was some buzz that Alabama was going to put him at defensive line, and he didn't like that. That's why I think Gus was adamant today about defense, about not playing defense. I think that was one of the things that in Auburn's pitch to him to get him was that you are absolutely going to play on the offensive side of the ball. We're going to find ways to get you involved. I think that was, looking back on it, about what Gus' comments today, it kind of made a lot of sense to me.
Well, there's no doubt about that. I mean, he's a good player, really good player. Jay Lee, I've had you for 30 minutes, and that's probably enough.
Damn, boy, I gotta go. By the way, a damn tree fell on my house.
For real?
I bet you it was Sig Biddy.
He's been after your ass, hasn't he?
No, but for real, there's a cedar tree about the damn size of me. I came home and looked outside. A tree was on my house.
It was sunny today.
Okay. Huh?
It was sunny and not.
I think it happened yesterday morning when all the rain came through.
Oh.
And I just haven't been out back and saw it.
Did it do any damage?
I'll send you some pictures. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut it up and mill it and build me something.
Okay.
There was one more story I was going to tell you today. I thought the subscribers or the fans of the show would like to hear.
One I really got to ask you before you go is, what do you think they're going to do with these last 3 spots they've got left? I mean,
good job. So glad you asked me. Did some looking around today after I left you. Obviously, you got to keep Jay Hardy, the defensive tackle from Tennessee, who elected not to sign today. But he's in Florida playing basketball. Auburn absolutely feels very, very optimistic that he is locked in with Auburn. His parents are locked in with Auburn. But as you and I both know, and I'm sure several of the people listening, it's never over. And when you've got the in-state SEC school, Tennessee, and what's that guy's name, Pruitt?
Yeah.
It's never going to be easy. But Auburn absolutely went out, closed the day today feeling really good about him. Of the uncommitted guys, no doubt, Broderick Jones, the overall target for Auburn in February signing period. He is going to come in January for an official visit. He'll probably check out Georgia another time. But his parents seem to be curious and very interested in Auburn and what they've pitched to him so far.
All right.
The playing time, I really feel like Broderick Jones is a no-brainer at number one. The other guys, I think they're going to get another defensive tackle, maybe another defensive end. 2 guys there to watch. We already know about Marques Burks, the junior college defensive tackle from Iowa. Auburn. He's all in on Auburn. He's just waiting on the green light from Auburn, and he's in. Whether or not Auburn takes him, not sure yet, but he's definitely high on the board, as is another JUCO guy, DeAndre Butler, who played his college ball in Covington, Newton, Georgia. He's a defensive end. Could be like a tweener between a buck or a strong side. He's could play either, whatever you needed him for. I think he might even be the buck that Auburn's looking for to come in and be able to contribute. We talked about Romello Height maybe being another year or two from being ready to compete. DeAndre Butler's there. He's ready to go. He's a spring guy, so he's got three to play two. And originally from Georgia. I think now his parents live in Chicago. But anyway, he's very, very familiar with Auburn and the SEC, and Auburn offered him. He's going to come in January for a visit, but I think he's the ready-made guy to come in and compete immediately as that pass rushing buck.
All right. So they got some guys to take a look at, all of them pretty damn good, and they've already done well. So in general, pretty successful recruiting situation right now for the Auburn Tigers, I'd say.
Man, very, very impressive. Very impressive. I think I'm just appreciative of them being successful because it makes my day a lot easier when they get people. So,
right,
but man, I tell you what, man, our subscribers were freaking awesome today. They really were. Yesterday they freaked out when I put up on the confidence level low and stuff, and it got a little crazy. But today, man, they were really good, and it made for a real fun day for me, and I appreciate them. Sure do, man.
Yeah, they like you too. So, Jay Lee, that's 32 solid minutes, bro. The longest you'll ever be on our show, I promise you.
Dude, if you don't want me on, just let me know.
All right, brother. You get some sleep or something. I don't know.
Thank you. Hey, yeah, I will. And I might be having to cut up some trees tomorrow, but appreciate you having me on, boss.
All right, holla you, bro. See ya.
Later.
That's Jeffrey Lee, ladies and gentlemen. Superstar. Came through like a champ. His predictions were right on. And I think everything that he explained to you guys on Monday and Tuesday, I think came true. And it says they're going to be looking at some guys for those last spots. Jay Hardy, they're going to have to kind of continue to fight for, I should say, against Cornbread. And then Broderick Jones are going to be fighting against Kirby and Del McGee over there. And then a couple JUCO guys, Burks and Butler, to augment the defensive line a little bit. So that's what they're going to be looking at in January. To try to leading up to the late signing period, which used to be the real signing period, but now it's not. Isn't it crazy? In just a span of 3 years, it's gone from we'll take some guys early to 95% of the class is taken early. It's crazy. Let's see what we want to do next. We still want B-Matt wants to get on the horn, but I just wonder if you guys have had overload. On the recruiting scouts, because we just had Jay Lee on for 32 straight minutes, and I know a lot of you guys are super fired up about recruiting. It was a great day to talk recruiting. Just didn't want to overload you guys. I had a couple questions about what I'm drinking. I am drinking the Buffalo Trace tonight. A lot of people say, hey, man, that ain't very exotic. Well, I didn't say it had to be exotic every single day. I ran across this today at the ABC store near the Rave in Montgomery, and I was pretty damn happy to see it. So I snatched it. For $27. It says, let's see, the Mexican Narwhal says JG versus McCready on the YouTube tonight. Man, me and Neil never against each other. I think it's just different groups. Serving different groups. Put it to you that way. I don't know if y'all saw this, but McCready was in a little Twitter feud. I think it was for fun, but I didn't understand what was going on with the Oxford Police Department. And the Oxford PD is always fun on Twitter. They love talking smack. But, yeah. I gotta have to get to the bottom of that on the G-Pits. And I know there's 2% of you guys that listen to G-Pits. We are going to be taping a show this week, although it's probably going to be during the weekend or I think maybe Sunday, just because there's a lot of stuff going on. And we're not going to be able to do it tomorrow. I'm going to be doing Chad Morris tomorrow and some players. And then we've got a big-ass important basketball game tomorrow night inside the Auburn Arena, 8 o'clock tip, 8 o'clock Central. against the NC State Wolfpack. So a lot going on. Huge game tomorrow, Bradley. You're right about that. And I mean, you guys know I'm a basketball guy first and foremost, and I'm pretty damn fired up about seeing this game. Yeah, that's going to be a good one. And there's a real feeling, when I was at practice yesterday. I mean, you could tell. I mean, sometimes when they're practicing, they're kind of loose. They weren't loose. This is a big game. Let's see. Jay Lee's texted me back. Oh, damn. He sent me pictures of this tree that fell in his house. I don't know if y'all can see that. Yeah. Thing really did hit it right on, didn't it? Dang, that sucks. Doesn't look like it really tore it up. Like it's not like a hole in the roof or anything. I think he'll be able to saw that thing. I mean, he better get some help though. That's a big boy. But if you get that removed, I think he might get away all right on that one. Oh, here's a different angle. Yeah, he's fine. He don't have a hole in the roof or anything. But I mean, that's something that I wouldn't be doing by myself. I'd make a mess out of that in a hurry. Chris says, not so good a year for basketball in the SEC. Yeah, it's early. It's early. Lou Brandon says, what's your prediction? I think Auburn's going to win this game by 8. And I just think that Auburn's, I don't know. A lot of these dudes played in that game last year. They played miserably down at NC State. And I think they're going to have, I mean, it's not revenge per se, but it's just like they were super loose with the ball. I don't think they took the games as seriously as they should have. I don't think they're going to make those mistakes this time. Keith said, repeat that about the Oxford PD. Neil was in some kind of a Twitter row with the Oxford Police Department. It was probably a joke. I think it was kind of reading like a joke, but I just didn't understand the origin of what was going on. But they were kind of going back and forth at each other. And Oxford PD tends to, I mean, they have a funny Twitter handle. So, I mean, they're not like shit talkers, But, yeah. I've got people who are calling the Skype line and then hanging up, like, right away. Like, I'm not going to play a game where I, like, try to catch your call. Like, call and let it ring for a minute, and then I'll pick it up. I think we'll call. Oh, I'm calling Jeffrey back. I do that every single time. Duh. We'll call B-Matt now. Let's see what's up with Mr. B-Matt. Yeah, Lou, I'm with you. You say don't turn the ball over 26 times. We'll be straight. I agree. That would help. That'd be a good
Hello.
start. Brian Matthews, hi.
How's it going?
Word be, Matt. How you doing?
Are you draining some brains right now?
Hell yeah, I'm draining some Buffalo Trace, my man, down my gullet.
Oh, very nice. Very, very nice.
We spent 32 minutes talking recruiting with Jay Lee. How about that, huh?
All right. Well, I'm ready to do another 32 minutes on it.
He had lots of stories about things. He had a tree fall in his house, B-Matt.
I know. It's terrible.
Yeah, I don't think it didn't look like it did a lot of damage, though. It's just going to be a pain in the ass to get it out of the way or whatever.
Yeah.
It's
not supposed to happen on Sunday.
What happened? I think it happened yesterday. What have you been drinking, bro?
I had some cherry Coke.
Is that it?
That's pretty much it, yeah.
I've seen you drink, though.
Yeah, I'll drink a beer and, mix a drink every once in a while.
You and I got tore up that New Year's Eve, didn't we?
Was that last year or 2 years ago? I can't
I
remember.
think it was 2 years ago.
Okay, yeah.
We had a good
That
time.
was fun.
We were hanging out with the beat writers. It was like me, you, Lauren, and like Tom.
Yep.
Brandon was there.
Just about everybody.
Jason, I don't think was there.
Okay.
Yeah, but Brandon and Ferguson had a good time. I know Keith. We have a guy in the chat named Keith says Cherry Coke ? I know, dude, for reals. I didn't make a graphic for this, Mr. B-Matt, because I did one for Jeffrey. But can you give me a couple guys that would be the B-Matt big dogs, like the guys that you think are the most important members of this signing class?
Well, I don't know if Jeffrey mentioned him as one, but I think that the kid they got at the very end there,
Reed.
Yeah. I'm trying to. No. The outside linebacker. I'm looking for him on the list. Hold on a second. My mind has gone blank now. Romelio.
Height.
Right. Yeah. Height. Yeah, that's it. Romelio Height. I actually think he was one of the most important gets. I think Auburn defensively has all the pieces to be a great defense this year and years to come, except for an edge pass rusher. And I think he immediately brings that to the team. Maybe some guys currently on the team, like, T.V. Moultrie may finally step up, wouldn't totally rule him out, Maybe some other guys can do it, but I think they needed a guy in this class, at least one, that you feel like can develop into that. I think the Height kid can. I think Gus said today he had 16 sacks as a senior, and that's in South Florida. They play good. South Georgia. They play really good football down there. So I think that's a really good sign. Just looking at him, got a nice, quick first step. So I like that a lot about him. And then you got to go with Tank, of course. If you looked at Auburn's running back situation 2 or 3 years ago, before Carnell came, I thought it was one of the biggest limiting factors to Auburn's success, our inability to get into that championship game or win the championship, especially in 2017. When Carry-On went down, they did not have an answer. They had no real backup, and that really hurt them. Well, now they're going to go into next year with, I think, in my opinion, there'll be 3 studs at running back, and Booby, and I'm sorry, my mind is.
You got Shivers, you got Tank, you got Tank, you got Booby, you've got
DJ, and now
DJ Williams.
Tank. So, and then
Shivers.
you've got a bunch of other guys in there too, in the mix who could develop and step up. So, I think that's a really good mix at running back, and I love what Carnell's done there. And then I just love the wide receivers in this class. I think Cody did a really good job. Gus wants his receivers to block, and just about every one of these receivers, all of them are over 6 foot, but most of them are 6'3" or bigger. And you figure they're going to be 200 pounds or more here within the next year or so. And then I think Toby Hudson, he would be one of my big dogs. I think he's going to be a special player, like a standout receiver, one of the best Auburn's had, probably since Slayton. I think he has that type of potential, big play potential. So, and I think he'll convert quickly from 2 years of playing quarterback in high school to playing receiver. I think he's going to play next fall and be a contributor and be part of that rotation. I'm just really high on him. Great attitude, great work ethic. I just think he's going to be a terrific player for Auburn.
Yeah, it seems like just in general, this class, they got some really good players. Maybe missing that like marquee offensive tackle, but in other spots, man, they got a lot of dudes, right?
They do, and I think it's also big that Auburn right now is 8th in the country at the top 10 class. I don't know how many people know this, but Auburn hasn't had a top 10 class in recruiting in quite a while now.
Damn.
The last one they had was 2016, believe it or not, and that class included Derek Brown and Marlon Davidson. So it does make a difference, right? So I think they needed that. Now they're going to have to get a couple guys in and hang on to some guys, to keep that class in the top 10, late period. But this is a really good step forward in that. And I agree with you on the offensive line. But the offensive line, on the other hand, is the hardest position to evaluate. And it is a position where, you expect guys to take 3 or 4 years to develop. So we don't know how some of these guys are going to be 3 or 4 years from now. Avery Jernigan and Tate Johnson, if you watch their film, they play really hard. They're really physical. They finish blocks. You just love the way they play the game. And if they can continue to get bigger, stronger, faster, they could be really good players in 2 or 3 years for Auburn. Really good.
Yeah.
That's in our guard. So you just don't know how some guys develop. Killian Zaire, he's a kid from Germany. He could be, I think he's a kid from Germany. He could be an All-American talent at left tackle. He's got to get healthy again. He's got to get more experience. He's only played for a couple of years American football, but he's another guy. You just don't know how good he can be. He's just a 3-star, but he could end up being a 5-star in a couple of years, on the field. So, and I think there are a lot of guys like that in this class. You look at Cam Riley. Gus was practically gushing about him today. I forget exactly what he said. Something like he's tall and long, and he's going to be a really big man, I think he said. So I think some guys in this class that people may not think about or talk about or get excited about end up being really good players for Auburn in the coming years.
Yeah. And then Jay Lee was saying they're still pursuing some guys. Jay Handy, they're going to keep working. Jay Hardy, excuse me, they're going to keep working on. Broderick Jones, obviously, they're going to be going up against Georgia for him. I mean, they get those two guys and a few more. All of a sudden, this class gets really dirty. I mean, it's already pretty good.
If they could find a way to get Broderick Jones, that would be one of the biggest signees they've had in the last 4 or 5 years easily, since Derek and Marlon really. Absolutely could use a 5-star talent at left tackle, especially a high school player where they haven't recruited, too well. And I think, Gus talked about today, they're also going to look really hard into the graduate transfer market too.
Yeah, that's true.
So I could see them trying to address some situations there, at left tackle or wherever, if they can find somebody that can step in and help immediately. So I don't think offensive line recruiting is close to being over yet, as far as that goes.
Yeah. They still have room to add some more and get this thing bumped up a little bit on the offensive line. We also were talking before we got you on, be mad about this game tomorrow night, Auburn against North Carolina State, 8 o'clock tip Central Time. This is going to be a showdown. NC State, statistically the best team Auburn's played this year. What are you expecting there? Do you think Auburn can pull this one out?
I think it's going to be really interesting because NC State is the best offense Auburn's played. Auburn's playing really good on defense, so they haven't faced anything like NC State. They've got a great backcourt, guys who can light it up from 3-point, can dribble, penetrate, do all those things, and it's just going to be a really, really good test for Auburn. I think it's good they're playing at home. I think it's probably good that NC State was the team that beat them pretty good last year, so they'll be motivated for a little bit of that revenge factor too. So I think that's a positive. But I think one of the things, I don't think Auburn could come out and shoot as poorly as they had the last couple of games or, be so bad from the free throw line and expect to beat a team like NC State. I think they need to play well on both ends of the floor to win this game.
Yeah, they got to be tight. At practice yesterday, they were pretty serious. They were out there working for real. So yeah. I think they know what they've got ahead of them here.
Yep. And this is a good tune-up for SEC play. They get this, then Lehigh, then a break for Christmas, and one more non-conference game, and then boom, they're at Mississippi State, which will be a very, very tough game for Auburn. Auburn doesn't win in the hump very often. So it's here. The meat of the schedule is about to get here, and Auburn needs to take another step or two forward before that happens.
All right, B-Man, we're going to talk to Chad in the morning and then some players, and we'll be doing some basketball in the nighttime. So I'll be seeing you tomorrow,
Yeah, it's
going
to be another full day tomorrow, no doubt.
There's no doubt. I'm going to be doing Game Thread, by the way.
Okay, cool. That would be great.
All right, B-Matt, you are the man. You're the doer of many things.
I appreciate it.
Right.
Oh, I should add, Gus was gushing over Jeremy Pegues, not just in the press conference, but afterwards.
Yeah.
He's in love with that dude, and you can expect him to play as a true freshman and maybe do a lot of different things offensively. So
no doubt, I like that
that'll
young
be
man
one to watch.
That's a good young man.
Yeah.
All right, bro.
All right, man. Talk to you tomorrow.
See you, Matt. Brian Matthews, Ace Team reporter, and a man who is a doer of many things. A guy he's just a beast. Does a little bit of everything for us. So there you go. Jay Lee's Big Dogs. I like the hidden gems. It's pretty snazzy. Little Elijah Canyon there for you. It's kind of a thin little cat, but he's got room to grow. He'll get a little older. Play down there in South Florida, Hollywood, Florida, as the kids say. Yeah. I better put the full class back up. There you go. Yeah, although I still have Chris Thompson listed as a linebacker. My bad, guys. I was kind of hustling to get this thing done before dinner. And let's see, there was a question on here I didn't really want to ask. Chris says, talk like Gus for the rest of the show. I can't do that. First of all, I want to get back to my super chats that I missed. Joker had a super chat earlier. Thank you, sir. You've been so supportive here ever since you've started using the handle Joker. Or since you started with us, I should say, right? Thank you very much for that. And Collins M, last name redacted, had something. It was for the fund for Brian, drink fund, so he didn't have to drink cherry Coke anymore. Dude, Brian loves him some cherry Coke now, and he even goes so far when we go to Voodoo to get the they don't actually have cherry Coke that's formulated that way. So he gets the Coke with the cherry like squirted into it. It's stupid, but he likes it. And B-Matt's not a big drinker, although I have drank with him. We got drunk together New Year's Eve, maybe a couple years ago. We had a little beat writer party at the bowl game. This was the one in Atlanta. So I guess that would have been at the end of the 17th season. And we were partying with some of our friends and, some of the beat writers. One of our favorite, Lauren Shute, who used to write for SEC Country, was partying with us. And she's a really, really cool chick. And she's now out of the business. When SEC Country went belly up, we ended up hiring Ben away from there. And then Lauren went on to graduate school up in New York. And then Ferg went over to the Athletics. So quality group there. I know you guys miss Ben big time. Damon asked a question. I just didn't want to ask. I didn't want to kind of ambush BMAT on that. Could you guys touch on JB Grimes being replaced after recruiting season? I mean, I think it could happen. I told you guys that I thought two coaches wouldn't be back. One of them was Dillingham, and the other was JB. The bunker thinks that JB Grimes is like one of the worst assistant coaches ever in the history of college football. I'm not exactly sure why. I mean, the offensive front was not the strength of the football team this year. Fair enough. You guys have a point on that? But I don't think it was garbage. I think the running game was fine. Recruiting-wise, not necessarily the greatest group, although we're not going to know that for a couple years because they got some diamond in the rough guys like Avery Jernigan that may end up being really good. I don't know yet. But it's just kind of like, well, the offensive line was terrible, which I don't agree with. And then it's like offensive line recruiting was terrible, which I'm not sure I agree with that either. And they're still obviously very much in this for Broderick Jones. So if that happens and you get a 5-star tackle, and I'm not saying the offensive line recruiting was the best this year, probably wideouts and defensive backs was, but it wasn't a failure. So I don't really understand that JB hate. I understand if you're kind of like, man, could we do better there? That's one argument I understand. But if it's like he sucks so bad he's got to go home, why are we even paying him? I just don't agree with that. That's just my opinion. And I also want to say that I think if JB was allowed to start the 5 guys that he wanted to start last year himself, it would have not have been the same 5 guys that started all year. I say that. So he kind of gets overdone, right? I mean, he's got to appease Gus in addition to coming up with his own ideas. Let's take this call. We might only take one call tonight because we're almost at the end of the road here. Hey, caller, how you doing? Welcome to the show.
JG, what's up, man?
Word. Is this Auburn alumni?
It is Auburn alumni.
What up, bro?
Dude, you got me reminiscing about my days back in school now after talking about the 99 season and whatnot.
You were getting me reminiscing too, bro. You were also rustling the hell out of some people in the bunker earlier. Woo!
Well, dude, I mean, so here's the thing. I don't get – there's few things that ruffle me more than a bunch of guys on the message board talking about how there's some giant, like, canyon of talent, dearth of talent between us and a team that's ranked one spot ahead of us in our recruiting ranking. It's ridiculous. I mean, oh my God, we're 7th and Florida's 5th. How we ever hope to compare with them on the field? It's like, dude, come on, man. I mean, if you're in that top 10 range, I mean, what is it? On average, these rankings change. One player can move you two spots up or one spot down. I mean, it is ridiculous. So, yeah, so I just like to mess with those guys because, they love to say, here, we're 5th in the SEC. Well, dude, 5 of the 6 top 6 are SEC schools. I think we're all fine. It's not talent. Talent is not the reason that we lose games. And if you look at the LSU. So apparently LSU is the most amazing talent every year if you listen to our board. Yet, the last 3-4 games of them have come down to literally the final possession every single game. Mm-hmm. And that's with our awful, terrible cast-off talent. So, yeah, I mean,
they get a little carried away. They get a little carried away with it. Yeah, and I was just kind of talking about JB. Like, I'm not saying he's like the strongest recruiter they got, but I mean, this idea that he's the worst assistant coach in the country, I think it's absurd. I mean, it's just my opinion.
Well, this is the same guy that was the coach when we were literally telling people we're running this way and ramming the ball down their throats for 500 yards in 13. We're still grading forward. I mean, when you've got dudes, Grimes is good. I'm like everybody else. Everybody can see we've been lacking in offensive line recruiting. I mean, that's a given. I mean, and for the most part, it's the whole offense that everybody had the issue with. I mean, for the entire time that Steele's been here, not only has the on-field performance been good, but as you've seen, everybody's seen, Steele gets the depth. Not only does he get the depth, but he plays the guys. He rotates guys. I mean, if you looked in games this year, critical drives, Marlon and Derek would be on the sideline. I mean, in a third down play in a tight game, and he'd have, Newkirk or Truesdale out there in big situations, not just cleanup. And that's the reason why I think next year you're still going to have a solid D-line. I mean, Steele and T-Will and Woodson, all those guys, we've been rotating a lot of guys on the other side. So that's where I think the issue is offensively, yeah, I agree. I mean, this year coming up when we get Tank in there, like we said, that's the first time in forever it's like, okay, now we've got a stable of running backs that are quality backs across the board and not necessarily niche guys, like a Shivers. I mean, between DJ, Tank, and Booby, I mean, that's a hell of a three-way tandem, in my opinion, of quality SEC backs. They're big, they're physical. So, yeah, and we just need to do the same thing at offensive line. But like you said, if we land Broderick Jones, you land Jones, you've brought in, and people are complaining, we got to have immediate help. Well, that's why they went and got JUCOs. You've got to go get JUCO guys to get the immediate help. Now, it's their fault, again, that we are in this situation. By their fault, I mean the staff, but they're trying to correct the issue. So I'm not faulting them for forgetting JUCOs. Guys are, we're going to get a 3-star JUCO guy. They were the number 1 and the number 3 offensive tackles in JUCO. So, I mean, we're still going after the other guys. And I think if, you grab Broderick, which from all intents and purposes, it sounded like we're trending pretty well there. Plus they bring in, I think we had 5 or 6 already. I mean, they're making the effort to get better there. But like we said on the last call, I mean, it was like 16 guys on campus now, they're O-linemen. And we've already heard about Broham. We've heard about, by the way, that's the greatest name ever, Broham.
Absolutely.
But, Keandre Jones, those guys, I think we got material there. But the two biggest things that are wrestling me is the worrying about we're 2 spots behind so-and-so, and we're just so far behind. No, we're not. And if you're looking at a different ranking, we're higher up. We're between, 5 and 8 or something like that. I mean, we're fine there. And the other aspect is like, well, it's Gus's fault. We're playing a freshman quarterback in your 8. No, man, it's not. I mean, today's age, you got glorified free agency at that spot. And you're not going to have 3 5-star quarterbacks on your roster. If you do, it's going to be for half a season because the other 2 guys that don't win the job are going to look somewhere else. So I do think we need to get another quarterback. I don't know much about the guy we signed, but I mean, we've got a talented freshman QB. One that I keep harping on, I'm loving, and I totally forgot about Toby Hudson. So I made a mistake. I thought all of them were 6'3". I know Kobe's like 6'1", and he's actually the highest rated, I think, of the receivers. But the other 3, I love seeing a receiver group that's 6'3", 6'4", between 195, 215, and that's a nice group coming in. And then you forget about, Jontavius Johnson, the kid out of Hewitt. That dude's dynamite. I mean, he's a smaller guy, but he's a water bug. Sheffield. I mean, we're starting to get there where we need to be to where I have that depth on the offensive line. But again, the big one, I really think that Broderick Jones, if he signs, that could be one of the biggest commits we've had in years.
Oh man,
based on the position and need. That's just my thought. But overall, man, I'm pumped. I thought it was a great day. It's always fun to rustle the quote unquote the realists on our horde. And it's really enjoyable seeing us, And the other thing that people aren't bringing up too, you've got all this chaos kind of going on at certain points with Malzahn in the background of, oh, he's definitely gone, and they still land a class of this caliber with all that off the field stuff too. So if we could all get in lockstep and, if we could have a good year next year, who knows? Then we may actually have we might actually get a class, Jay, that could possibly compete with our rivals.
Oh, finally.
Maybe.
It would give Auburn a chance, finally.
Yeah, man. But other than that, the only other thing I had to say is great class. I do have a feeling we're going to come out like gangbusters tomorrow. I just have a feeling we've had 2 back-to-back games where we've kind of been a little rusty on the hardwood there. I think we're going to come out looking sharp at home, and if we do, first sent for NC State, because if we put it together at the free throw line, if we're hitting our threes, I think we blow them out tomorrow night.
Wow.
And I think that they're on a mission. That's just my thought. So
yeah,
that's my prediction.
All right, got you down, bro. Auburn
All right,
alumni.
man, great show.
Appreciate you, bro.
And, yeah, Ward Am.
See you, man.
See you later.
Auburn alumni. He was having his way with some of the doom and gloomers earlier, or the realists as they call themselves now. Yeah, he was giving them hell, and they didn't really want to engage with him too much. Not because he's, Mr. Big Dick or anything. It's just, it was pretty much – I think those people were kind of bummed out because Auburn had a good day. I mean, they did. It was a good recruiting day. The last few years, been stuff go down that kind of like, not this time. Let me see if we can get Jay Head on here. Jay Head is, as you guys know, those of you who are frequent bunkerers know that Jay Head is among our most connected prognosticators. Pretty much if Jay Head says something's going to go down, it's going down. All right. J-Head, I'm getting you on the horn here, bro. See if we can get J-Head on the horn here.
Hello.
J-Head.
What's going on, Jay Tate?
What up, bro?
Living the dream right now. Just soaking up the glory of a nice signing day here. Just wanted to call in real quick and sing the praises of the Auburn sports staff. Jay Lee did a hell of a job today.
He sure did.
You guys make sure the system didn't crash. We didn't have the typical meltdown in the bunker, so I thought it was a really great day. But just wanted to call in and comment a little bit on some of our recruiting class. Thought we ran with some really great kids, some high-quality kids, and just some beast athletes. I mean, I think Ladarius Tennyson is unworldly as far as his talent level of what he can do in the secondary. To me, and he's a little, and I know I'm probably rambling here, but Desmond Tisdale is going to be a man-child. He really fits, and T-Will has loved this guy since the first time he scouted him. And, of course, anytime that Muschamp puts him number one on his list as far as the middle linebacker is concerned, that sells me right then and there. Wesley Steiner's a stud. I mean, I thought we really just did a good job today.
Yeah, and I mean, I know offensive line, they're lacking that crown jewel of the class, but, man, so many other areas. They did a great job,
It really did. It was extremely well-rounded. And, yes, okay, I understand everybody's gripe there. I don't know, for those that actually watch film or anything of that nature, watch the tape on Brendan Coffey. The kid can really play. I know there's some questions about his size. I think he's coming in what the sites are reporting him as is 275. My understanding is a lot closer to 290 right now. But the kid's just a mauler at the point of attack. He really, really plays and knocks guys off the ball. I'm in love with Avery Jernigan. I really am. The kid is just nasty. I mean, he reminds me of Reese Disney's, but a better finisher. I think in time, and we have a lot of center prospects, but in time, he's going to be a really good player for us. And if you can land a Broderick Jones, and I'm not saying that we're going to, I think we really, really, he meshes extremely well with our team. I mean, I think a lot of people have said that, or Jay Lee has at least said that. We've talked about that he meshes extremely well with Auburn. I think we stand a really good shot at landing him. He's a high-character kid, and he is an absolute beast. And probably somebody that can play right away. He's a smidge raw, but probably somebody that you could fit in there if you absolutely had to.
Yeah.
But I don't know that we'll even get to that point. I mean, I've heard a lot of rave reviews about Broham at the right tackle spot, and I'll be interested to see what Trox can give us at the left side.
Yeah, Broham's a guy that was, I think, getting a lot of push in the fall, J-Head, and just didn't really get a chance to play. I just think the head coach was ready to see somebody else play that spot at that point anyway.
No, and, I think that's been kind of the thing where he's had an issue with turning it on and off sometimes. But right now, everything I hear is that he's really starting to turn it on and really starting to knock people off the ball and play on the other side. So we'll see. I'm kind of hopeful of his overall progress and development.
But in general, you thought this was a pretty damn strong class, don't you?
I really felt like we hit our needs. I felt like from a receiver standpoint, we needed to get longer. You know, right now in the college game, not everybody's built to do what Alabama does with a lot of guys that are 6 foot and all 4'4". A lot more teams right now are moving more towards kind of what LSU does in their passing game, where you have some of these long gazelles that are out there running around. And we really did that. I mean, we had a lot of guys that are 6'2", 6'8". I guess we had 3 guys that are all above 6'2", with Zion Capers probably being the tallest. I think at 6'4". Toby Hudson is a extremely, extremely athletic kid that is just very gifted with the ball in open space. Running back, we had the number 1 on the board, probably the number 1 back in the entire Southeast, and arguably the number 1 in the country. And he really can take it to the house. I mean, that's what we've been missing more than anything right now is that home run hitter. We get that with him, and I think you kind of get that in Mark Anthony Richardson last year. We just didn't get a chance to see what he can do due to the knee injury that he suffered in fall practice. But you pair that with what you brought in last year. The only thing that kind of scares me to a degree, and I say this in jest because Rodney always closes, but we've got to land another defensive tackle in this class. I know Marques Burks is up there for us. McKinley Jackson is another guy that we'll be looking at. And then obviously the other big DN that's out there in Kansas from JUCO. And I'll just be interested to kind of see what our numbers are and what we're going to do as far as either a transfer quarterback or are we going to pursue Chandler Morris at all. I think there's a lot that's there up in the air. But overall, this is a wonderful class. Secondary was I think we hit on every guy in the secondary. I've watched tape on each and every one of them, and every one of those guys are going to be studs. Linebacker, we did really well. Offensive line, we hit needs, but we still got 1 or 2 pieces to go. But like I said, if we can get that defensive line piece. Oh, and let me talk about Romello Height real quick.
Yeah.
First and foremost, me and Jay Lee have been back and forth about that guy ever since he took a secret visit. For Georgia, I got to look at some of his film, and not everybody has seen it, but he had 16 sacks his senior year. He is an absolute terror off the edge. And when I did a comparison between him and probably his more noted counterpart in Philip Webb, I felt like Romello Height's film was better. I felt like he played quality competition down in South Georgia, and I do think he's probably a season or 2 away, but the overall skill set and tools, I think Romello Height's upside is better than Philip Webb's.
Damn. Yeah, Miami was crying about that one. They were pissed they lost him. So.
Well, and we know how that feels. I mean, shit, we were that way with George Pickens last year. So, it just feels nice to be on the other side of it.
J-Head, thank you so much for giving us some time, brother. You really are one of the greatest.
Well, I appreciate you, Jay. You guys kill it there on site, and if there's anything I can ever do, man, just let me know.
All right, J-Head. Appreciate you, bro. Thanks for letting me call you.
Absolutely, Jay. Have a good one.
See you, man. J-Head, the myth, the legend, the guy who, he's 100% serious on the bunker. Like, if he's speaking, shit's legit, you know? I mean, you guys always say there's no more insiders. People don't know anything. Dude, J-Head knows more than any of those guys did. Telling you. I mean, I know shit, and Jay Lee knows shit, and we know who knows shit and who doesn't know shit, and J-Head knows shit. I'm here to tell you. All right, well, we've taken actually one call, and I've had to pass up a bunch, but I think we're going to probably wrap it up. I mean, it's a midweek brain drain, and, we had a great chat with Jay Lee, followed up with Mr. B-Matt, Auburn alumni, stepped up, and then, of course, we got to talk to J-Head, so that was awesome. Some really good stuff there on the recruiting tip. But anyway, successful day in general. Sterling says J-Head needs to be on every show. I agree. We'll have to kind of get with him and see if he's willing to hop on more often. But, yeah, he absolutely knows his stuff. And he knows team stuff, too. It's not just recruiting with him. It's pretty impressive. So we'll probably wrap it up there, guys. I just want you guys to know that I appreciate you very much. We got another super chat during the last call from Love the Cats. So thank you very much. I think that was your second one tonight. Yeah, thank you very much. Want to run back through BP. Jeff C., last name redacted. Chris A., last name redacted. Sean, last name redacted, love the Cats ×2, RLN 2011, Joker, and Collins M are our super chatters tonight, and I thank you guys very much for supporting what we do. Oh, Sterling jumps in too. Thanks, Sterling. That's not your first one either. I know you've done this before for some of in our previous shows. Thank you very much for that. And Jay Lee, he has done you're giving me props, but Jay Lee has busted his ass. He's been so good on the recruiting tip. He really steps up when it's time to step up, and he did a great job. The thing I love about Jay Lee is he doesn't give you a lot of extra BS. He tells you what you need to know, and some people interpret that as he's not giving you enough. But if he's giving you stuff if he's like breaking down recruits that are never going to come to Auburn and maybe not even get an offer, like, is that really worth your time? Is that somebody you need to know about? I don't think so. Just how I feel about it. Janster says, what's a super chat? So a super chat is basically it's kind of like tipping us for the show, and I take that money and I either reinvest it in the show or do something else to try to help with the site or whatever. That's kind of what I do with YouTube. Our YouTube enterprise makes us money that we then use to like buy new computers, new cameras, pay for the travel to Tampa, things like that. Just little things like that. Listen, man, most of you guys are subscribers, and we appreciate the heck out of you guys just for subscribing to the site. I mean, seriously, I say this every time we do a show, but we couldn't do this without you, and I mean that. And I'm appreciative of every single subscriber we've got, truly, except for maybe a few that say bad words all the time, but that's a very small number of people. But there's some people that say, hey, I want to do more. I wouldn't mind to give a little bit more. Super Chat's a good way to do that. I mean, just slide a little bit in there, and we appreciate it. We've had some that are $1 or $2. I love those just as much. I appreciate you guys just taking the time to do that and being generous like that. And it's, again, I appreciate all you guys. You've been awesome. And you make auburnsports.com what it is. I mean, Jay Lee busts his ass on recruiting. That's great, too. And I do what I can. B-Matt's awesome. We're bringing young Nate along. You know, he's going to be great in time. He's still very young. But the real stars are the people on the bunker. I mean, the message board is what makes us really unique. And sometimes it gets a little negative. But I don't know. I just get used to it. There's people that DM me and say, God, why do you let it be so negative, JG? And I'm like, well, you know, if people are going to complain about JB, I think they deserve to have a chance to vent and express their opinion. And I don't think they're going overboard. I mean, maybe they have a couple of times. I've probably deleted a couple posts. But in general, if they just want to complain about JB and they feel like offensive line recruiting's not going the way that it should or whatever, I don't see why that's an opinion they can't express. Now, sometimes stuff gets really personal, and I'll take it down, or maybe I'll even ban people. You guys know I get really pissed off about political stuff because we just don't need that. But, you know, it's just something that gets on my nerves. So I banded a Stump fan the other day for a couple days because he was posting some really nasty political stuff on the bunker, and I had to spank him. I don't think a lot of you are mad about that. Corey Weber, thank you for the super chat, bro. Appreciate you. That's awesome. You got a little dancing avatar there, too. Claiming to be the number one fan. I'll tell you what, if you say so, you are number one fan. Appreciate you, brother. Put that down. Never want to forget everybody who does that. It's really awesome. Appreciate you guys. Huntsville Tiger 34 says, Corey, you brown noser. Wait a minute now. You need to put that GIF up there, or the pic of the dog. You can't say brown noser without that. It's almost like one and the same these days. Because every time now, even in my real life, when I see somebody brown nosing, I think of the dog going in the dog's butt or whatever. It's funny. Yeah, Keith says it's their right to voice their opinion. I don't know about their right, but they're going to have a forum at auburnsports.com to be able to voice that opinion reasonably. And I mean, the people like Liger and stuff, they do get a little overboard with the negativity, but sometimes they have, there's a little bit of truth in everything they're saying. I think they go a little too far with it, and I think they do it to rustle the folks like Rice, who you know, I've not met Rice. I'd like to, who apparently just see the positive in everything and can't acknowledge anything bad going on. I think they do it to kind of rankle him and some of the others. But it's okay. Huntsville Tiger, I was kind of joking about that GIF. I don't think you can do it. Sean says, Stump fan is the worst. He's probably one of our least popular posters, I would say. Yeah. Now that Captain America's gone, I would say Stump fans probably moved in there. And the funny thing is that I end up having to interact with Stump fans somewhat often because, like, off DMs or whatever. because he gets in trouble or whatever. He's always really easy for me to deal with as a moderator. So he gets a plus for that. Some of the folks that get in trouble, sometimes they're not very nice. Sometimes they say really mean things to me, which I can take, but it's still, I'd rather talk to somebody who's a proper criminal like Stump Fan or like Power Man. Fig Jam. Sterling says we need to get Rice on the show. I actually would love to get Rice on the show. He lives here in Montgomery, so maybe I could use my local Montgomery connections to get him on the horn a little bit. Yeah, BP, my man, BP Rockman with another super chat. You're second of the day. Thank you very much for your support, brother. You are the man. You say I am number one. Hell yeah. You are. You're a beast. Number one fan, though. I had to put you up there. I got to put Corey in there, too. We got a bunch of folks that are always on the love the Cats. He's here all the time. Sterling's here all the time. God, there's a whole bunch. Jeff's here all the time. Chip's here all the time. I don't remember seeing Huntsville Tiger here all the time. AU Taxman's here all the time. David Brown was our first chatter. 2 days ago? 2 times ago, and then this time too. Bradley's been here all day. I appreciate you guys. Some guy named Jeffrey Lee. I don't know. Damon was asking some good stuff earlier. Sorry to get to all your questions, bro. See what else we got. Lou was talking a bunch. Thank you for being a part of that, Lou. Chris Stiff. Yeah, you guys are awesome, man. Mama Doodat, I think he signed off because he was the one that had his son or daughter's pre-kindergarten shindig tonight. Yikes. I remember those now. Huntsville Tiger. Montgomery, now I feel sorry for Rice. Here we go with the Montgomery stuff. Womp, womp, womp. I like living in Montgomery, believe it or not. I do. And now I love the Cats is pooping on Huntsville Tiger by saying he's short. He is short, but he's stout also. I would not want to fight him. I mean, if it really comes down to it, I'm going to try to get our differences settled because I don't want to fight him. Sausage Broker says, first timer, thoroughly enjoyed the show. Thank you for being part of it, bro. Appreciate that. Metal Fan was here also. Super. Been here the whole way. Appreciate you. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up. We almost made it to 2 hours, officially 1 hour and 55 minutes, but that's pretty good for a midweek show. Again, Auburn plays NC State tomorrow night. BMAT and I will be covering that for the site. You're not 5'11". And let's see. And then it's going to be kind of light. They have a game against Lehigh, I think, Saturday night. Well, Saturday afternoon at 5 o'clock. And so we'll be doing that. And then football-wise, they're going to be taking a little bit of time off before they go down to the bowl game on the 26th, I think. 26th or 27th is going to be their first practice down there. And they're practicing, let's see, today's Wednesday. They're practicing tomorrow, Friday, and Saturday before they take a break. So that's what we'll be doing. Anyway, guys, it was awesome having all of our guests on, Jay Lee, BMAT, Jay Head, and Auburn alumni. And, of course, all you guys in the chat and our super chatters, you guys are always my absolute favorites. Until we see you guys next time, stay strong, keep your feet on the ground, keep reaching for the stars. Love you guys. See ya.